I'm James Fox. I'm an artist and a teacher, and the concept for the work I'm doing for the biannual is based on a small piece of cloth that was cut from a woman's dress here at Helmshore Mill in 1826. And there was a loombreaker riots that happened there, and a woman called Mary Hindle had a small piece of a dress cut away, and she was incited as being a rioter. She was taken from here to Lancaster Castle. They took her on the back roads because they wanted to avoid her going through some of the big towns in case she incited more riots. Helmshore Mill's on 3 floors, and I'm going to try and utilise all of them. And then the first floor, I'm going to look at rights and how rights and protests are kind of looked at and how I look at it. And then the second floor, I'm going to look at riots and how rioting has come through history and my interpretation of how rioting has come about. And then the third level is going to be about my look at cycling and cycling history and how cycling history connects to socialism and to the area. Initially, I wanted to do something which was emblematic of cycling, but also of bikes. I love bikes as well, and I love the history of bikes, and I love the engineering and the mechanics that go behind bikes. So I've made, they're called head badges that go on the front of the bikes where the handlebars are and down the stem. So I've made them out of wood and mixed media, and I've placed embroideries within them. There's a lot going on, but I kind of try and bring it all together under working class history.
2 years ago at the first textile biennial, we had banner culture in Briarfield Mill, and James did an absolutely fabulous banner. It was a real crowd favourite. So it's wonderful to have the chance to work with him again.
Predominantly the thing that I use as my medium is embroidery and machine embroidery, and I make large wall hangings, and I use a technique called reverse applique, where I layer material on top of material and I cut away. Physically and metaphorically, I try and cut away into the social structure of how protest happens and how people protest and how I look and react to people and their protests. I also like the idea of printing in protest because it's always been used historically as a media that gets information out really quickly. You can get 100 prints done in 20 minutes and you can have them on the walls by nightfall. The Stone was the piece that I was making around Mary Hindle in Lancaster Castle, where she was held in 1826 for a year, under the guidance of Alan Ward, who's a fantastic stonemason and artist, and the piece is a commemoration to her. Someone said that Maxine Peake was also interested in this story, and I thought it was a hidden story. I thought it was a working class hidden story that not many people had heard about. So she got in touch and said that she would like to do something. So how fantastic for me to work collaboratively with Maxine. And we're going to do some filming around the idea of Mary Hindle, but also around the idea of prisons.
I hope and trust to God Almighty that none of my friends will share the same fate as I have.
Prisons have been one of the places that have been neglected and hidden, and prisons are hidden anyway, but in the last year they've been especially hidden. So I'm just going to try and comment on that through some of my work that I'm doing with Maxine and also through my own embroideries. And I'm also going to be showing some work at Lancaster Castle as well, along with Alan Ward. And hopefully at Lancaster Castle there'll be tours which will be associated with the biannual. I'm also going to cycle the route from Lancaster Castle to the Clarion House and then from there to Helmshore Mill. I'm hoping to have material made up of a 4-colour lino print that I've made, which is a celebration of the Clarion and cycling history. And I'm hoping to have it made into cushions that I'm going to give and gift to the Clarion. One of the routes that I've cycled on, I've been filming for the last year, and I'm hoping to make a little film kind of to do with grouse moors and who uses the land, who owns the land, how they use it, certain bills that are about to be passed by the government, certain bills that are historically set the way the countryside is. I'm going to try and put all that into a little film. Working with Maxine and working with other musicians and artists and people who are in the arts and organisation of the arts is fantastic. It's really great to feel as if you're part of the cooperative that I'm looking at. So the idea of fellowship, again, that comes from the Clarion is something which I've always found in the arts, and it's something which is great. I mean, Maxine said the thing that she is really keen on is collaborative process, is people working together for an outcome that they're all happy with. And that's what I'm after, that's what I want. It sounds like a cliche, but we haven't learnt from history, and we need to learn from history. We need to keep looking back. So stories like Mary make it seem poignant, make it seem real. And I think if you can think something is related to you, then it will have more of an effect on you, and maybe it'll be for better change for everybody, perhaps.